We only use 2% of our whole brain power.
What if we went to 100?
That is a lie. Flip our brain.
How do you guys usually get around that when you have like this creative block ahead of you?
See, my whole life is just a creative block in general.
I swear, every time someone says rule of thirds, people are gonna have a boner. Especially good designers.
Dude, I was literally just about to say, like, when you use a grid or anything, it gives people eye boners.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Apartment 38 YouTube channel, and this is Let's Hangout, a podcast where I gather up some friends and we just chill and talk about stuff. So here we have a returning guest. We have Anna. Say hello, Anna.
Hi everyone.
She's back from episode 1, and we also have 2 new guests here. So we have Danielle. Say hello, Danielle.
Hi.
And we have our boy Jeremy. Say what's up, Jeremy.
Hello, what's up?
And before we get into today's episode, make sure you guys subscribe to Apartment 308, like the video, comment, and share with all your friends. How's you guys' day so far?
Pretty relaxing.
By the time we're recording, it's just the start of Thanksgiving break on a good Saturday. So, just like the last episode we did, we're gonna try and go for a single topic episode and see how that goes. And today's topic is, what's the life of a designer like? All of us here are studying design. Well, one of us here have already graduated at this point.
That's right.
Wait, really?
Yes, I graduated in the spring.
Oh shoot.
Are you okay, Anna?
Yeah. Yes. Some glass broke. Okay.
Oh shit.
I just had a brain fart moment, and I was moving while I was having that brain fart moment. I just remembered who you are, because I was like, Danielle. I was like, I swear I know who this person is. And
We've had classes together.
Yeah. And then my candle broke. So I'm so sorry.
At least your place isn't on fire right now.
Yes. I'm fine. I gotta be very careful. I don't have socks on.
Yeah, so for quick context, me, Anna, and Jeremy, we're all still in college, still studying design, while Danielle over here already graduated. Her role on Discord too, it's already graduated or something like that.
No, it's the title is grad and shit.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
So, I think it makes sense to talk about our humble beginnings. First question we have is, how did we get into design? And what kind of inspired us to even start? Like, what's our history with it?
I guess I'll go first. The reason I got into design is actually because of my brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought I wanted to be an artist, but my brother didn't want me becoming a starving artist, so he said, "How about you go into design? It pays pretty well and it's pretty secure." And so I decided to major in graphic design.
How long ago did your brother how long ago was this? Like, your brother inspired you to do this?
I think it was either I think it was my junior year of high school. Or it was like the end. I think it might have been also in my sophomore year is when he first started, like, kind of telling me about graphic design. And then around the time I was applying in my junior year of high school, he encouraged me to do that, go that direction. So that's what I did.
Nice. And to this day, you are dreadfully in this school trying to study design.
Yeah.
Danielle, how about you? Let's start. What about your humble beginnings?
I would say I didn't get into design until like much later on because I was actually going the traditional art route. Because
Oh.
because my skills, I was doing a studio art major at another 4 year, and I thought that I was going to go um, into more digital art. But then when I had gotten a job back home, that career had me doing a lot of things, and one of those things was actually creating advertisements. And that was
Oh.
kind of like my first introduction to that. And it made me realize, oh my goodness, it's still art, but I'd actually be able to make money. And so that's the route I ended up taking because I did have skills in Photoshop already from doing yearbook like a bazillion years ago in high school. So I was using like CS4.
Mm.
And you know when but then when I did transfer back to a 4 year, that was when this became a computer science degree, and I was like, ooh, this is gonna look so good on my resume because people just see CS,
I know
you
that
know.
feeling. I know that feeling exactly.
And because now I've had quite a few years of experience, in design and specifically advertising. Um, you know, it's it's made me excited for art and being able to maintain a lifestyle while also doing what I love. You know,
I see. Wait, what kind of ads were you making for? Just real quick.
they were for products. They were product ads. And that was actually, funny enough, my first introduction to WordPress, by the way, because
Ooh.
I was working with who, our web guy who managed the whole thing, and I figured out how to do basic things within WordPress and kind of
Mhm.
like change things up when he didn't have like the time to do so. Because it was an e-commerce website, so I learned a lot about e-commerce. And then I also, but it was a lot of the publications were magazines. I did have so I had some stuff published in local magazines, but they were a pretty big deal because these were magazines that were distributed widely during some of the biggest events where some of the wealthiest people in the world are going to.
Did somebody
Um,
say Bill Gates?
you know um and so I also had advertisements in the airport too.
What?
Yeah, I have had published stuff, but when I was working on campus I was doing more of like advertising for events and programs.
Oh yeah, that's right. I've seen your work
Uh-huh.
around school a lot.
Yeah, but they got some new people in there, so it's probably going to look different now.
Yeah, probably. If you want, Danielle, if you want to, you can send over your designs here, and we can just do a quick, slideshow here on the. I'll edit in the photos here, just as like a quick
Okay.
example, if you want to.
That's
Okay.
cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'll send that over once I gather some stuff for you.
For
How
sure.
many pieces do you want?
Say like 4 maybe.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll send some over to probably a little later.
All right, Jeremy. Let's hear your story before we get to mine.
I got into design a little bit after I came back from Hawaii. I was majoring marine science at first out of high school, but I'm not a very good person at math or chemistry from the start, so that didn't really go well. After my first year, I was just working at a motocross track, just riding dirt bikes because I raced all throughout high school and shit. And then I was just kind of doing the same, or like I was just working, not going to school pretty much. And then I just needed to figure out something to do, and I figured graphic design was the best way to possibly stay in the motorsports or racing industry, whether it's dirt bikes or race cars or something. I just kind of want to be around the racing and automotive industry doing graphic design. And so from there, yeah, it's just I'm really new to this field because I did a lot of photography and stuff growing up, but I didn't do too much coloring or drawing. So like I feel like I always get a little discouraged from time to time because I see everyone's work is so good and like it's like fuck dude, I'm just coming into this field right now and like I'm really just outclassed, but I really just try to push that back and trudge on through and do my own thing.
Damn.
I just want to let you know you're not alone in thinking that. And I've been in this major since my freshman year, and I still get that feeling that like my work isn't good enough.
Yeah, it's like it's subpar compared to some of the other people's you see. It's just like, damn, that's really good. And it's like it's good to see other people's art, but you really got to make sure not to get discouraged like that because maybe they have more experience or they just get something that we don't. Like everyone's different. You just got to accept the fact from that. Best thing to do is just to ask them how they did it and get tips from them because you learn by people that are better than you.
Support your local artists and designers, guys. That's the main lesson.
I think something that people don't think about is that some students coming in like Danielle, like already have experience with like Photoshop and like similar programs. And also not just that, but like people just work at different paces. Or maybe have like more, they just happen to have more experience, like professional experience. I knew someone who like they took on a ton different like freelance jobs, and that's why they were so good because they took on a lot. So it just some people might be going at a different pace than others, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I also have to state that I was in college for nearly 10 years, so.
Ooh. Was it worth it?
That's true. Some people are like they have more years.
I think, Brian, in the end, it was definitely worth it. When I graduated, it felt surreal. But then I got to see a lot of different people. Like, for instance, Jeremy, I remember we had a couple of classes together, and I really liked your typography stuff in that class. You know,
Thank you.
Like you did some really good stuff, and I could tell you are heading in that automotive direction because, you know, it looked like stuff I would see on like FCP Euro or something.
Ooh.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So my history with like how I got into design, yeah, in high school a lot, I used to like draw a lot, but my drawings are honestly kind of shit, and I don't want to show that. Actually, you know, junior year high school, I was like, I want to take another art class since I couldn't take anymore. There weren't any more upper division ones. So my teacher recommended I take photography. And then my friend also, too, convinced me to do photography. And, you know, that class introduced me to Photoshop and Lightroom. And I was like, yo, this is pretty cool. I like doing this. Here I come enter college. I was a CS major at first because I thought, you know, I can probably do this. I can probably get a good job in the future with this career. I failed a class sophomore year. I'm like, forget this. I'm moving over to design because my friend told me that he was a design major. Well, he was focusing on game. I wanted to focus on visual, but he still convinced me to switch anyway. So then I did. And, you know, when I first took those first few design classes, I was like, yo, this is really fun. I actually enjoy doing this. And then, you know, there's other professors too that told us like a lot of opportunities we can get as, you know, as visual designers. So I'm like, oh, and I get good pay when I get out of here? Let's go. And I also met cool people too, like you guys. You guys are honestly really cool. Yeah, I will say that, yeah, in our like the students in our major, including
Right.
all of us. Like I feel like all of us were very supportive of each other, of our
Oh
designs.
yeah. Mhm.
Like there are times like in one of our classes where yeah, I felt like my design, it looked like crap. I didn't think it was gonna match everyone else's. But then of course, I showed some to you, I showed a lot to Jeremy, Danielle, and our other friends. Yeah, you guys were all very supportive of me. And you guys gave me like really good feedback too, so I'm like, thanks. I actually feel appreciated.
I think what's important is that our career path is very team oriented, and if we don't have that to begin with, things wouldn't turn out the way they do, because we have to support each other in the end, because we'd be supporting our coworkers or our teammates.
Yeah. And just seeing how we critique each other versus how our professors critique us. Whew.
Yeah.
It does depend on what professor, though.
We won't mention any names, but we know which professors we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yes. Very
You
much.
get. I know you guys may not like the professor so much more than I, but it's the app development one I really don't like more
Oh,
than
yeah.
the typography and design. I'll take the typography and design critiques all day compared to the UX UI.
Yeah. I have that
That's just me.
I have that I don't know, that teacher right now, she's pretty chill with us, but she's just so far behind on grades for everyone.
And then your submission dates are never right.
Oh,
And then
yeah, that too. Wait,
shit.
the other teacher we had too, she had so many
I've never
wrong
had that
dates up.
teacher.
You never had a
Haven't
bad
had them.
design teacher?
No, I know what teacher. One of the teachers you're talking about. I was just saying I haven't had them.
Oh, you haven't had them.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
I mean, I would say
I've had the one that everyone really does not like.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
See, it was kind of weird for me, like, because I saw how she would treat other students in her class, and like when it came to me, it wasn't nearly as harsh or bad. Because the very first time, like, yeah, like she fucked my shit up, yo. I want to go cry under my blanket. My feelings were hurt, man. But after that, like, I just did what she said and tried some things on my own. It's like, look, here, I did what you said, but here's what I did this and yada yada. And she finally just like, okay, fair enough. I see what you did there. And then from that point on, she didn't give you as much smack from that. So it was weird. It's like she's so picky with who she's like. I don't want to say favorite. It's just who she's gonna be a bitch to or totally degrade.
no, I saw that in my classes. I was fortunately one of her favorites. So
I wasn't
didn't.
a favorite. I was just like, she just wouldn't bash on me as hard as the others. She
I
just
felt
told me what to do.
I felt
We were
so bad.
neutral.
Yeah, I felt so bad for you, Jeremy, but then when I looked at your designs, I'm like, wait, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was whatever. We became neutral. She didn't like me, and I didn't really like her. But I knew what I had to do, and she knew. She knew, it was like, here, just try these out, and then go from there. And it was kind of on that.
The
We could
one
work well with each other. We didn't have to like each other.
the one thing I
Something that I noticed.
Oh, sorry, Anna,
sorry.
you first. You first.
Okay. Something that I noticed is that there was one kid in the class that she didn't like, and like I myself was just trying to think like, why does she not like this person? It's not like there's nothing that like I think would make this teacher not like them. And turns out that this teacher had like I don't know if like maybe they had like a traumatic experience or like some sort of experience with this German person.
German?
Like this teacher. Yeah, like a design teacher from like her old design school.
Is she
And
like?
That's El Switzerland.
German?
Are you talking about like an exchange student?
No, actually, no. They're they're not an exchange student. They just happen to have like German heritage,
Uh,
and that's why she doesn't like them. I'm like, wow, it's like it really takes that to not like a person.
Wait, you're saying she doesn't like the teacher because they're German? Wait.
No, the teacher doesn't like the student.
Wait, what the fuck?
That's weird.
That's a little red flag right there.
Yeah, that was really weird. I was like, it made sense because apparently, like, the teacher knew very clear from the beginning that, like, their last name is German or whatever, and, like, the students said they were German. I was like, wow. It's like, really? Like, that's enough to make you not like a student because you had a bad experience with someone who's German and their German heritage. It's like, wow, okay.
That's why I pressed the emergency meeting button and be like, hold up.
I was like, that's crazy. Other than that, I don't see any reason why she chooses to, like, target this student specifically. I don't know. I thought it was... Anyways.
Yeah, anyways, before we get in trouble by YouTube. So, all of us here, we are in a concentration called, visual design. And of course, in our major, there are the other two concentrations, which are the web design and the game design. But I do feel like nowadays, a lot of people... I feel like everyone has their own definition of what design is. So I'm very curious. It's like, what does design really mean to you guys? Like, do you think it's more like a visual thing or like functional thing? Like, what do you guys think? What to you does design mean?
I think for me, Brian, design is something that you can convey something non-verbally, because that's kind of like the basis for anyone. Because you don't need to know a language, you don't need to be able to speak to understand or read a graphic, quote unquote. It's very universal. It's basically just modern hieroglyphics, to be honest. But we've always been conveying ourselves through art. And, what's funny is that I was actually a former art history major for a little while. So, it made me see exactly how far we had come from just doing art to what we see today in design and things like that, and how it evolved, because advertising has been around for so long. They've been discovering things like that are in like cuneiform in the Middle East with like advertisements on them, So it's like we've been finding different ways to get people's attention, because for me, because I want to do more advertising, I want to be able to showcase a product or a service and make it accessible to people that are able to interpret it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that's universal, and any age group which should be able to understand what you're trying to convey. And that's what makes advertising successful. That's why all the big brands, for instance, children recognize them along with adults. They're getting something right with their visuals, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I would honestly agree with that. For me, design, it's like, how well can someone understand? How well can someone, learn from it? Because, I feel like at first, all of us here and any other designers out there, we thought design was just, it's just art. We're just making a pretty picture for, ads or something. But no, like, as I'm taking these classes, especially the UX UI class that Jeremy hates, I mean, that teacher actually, she went more in depth about design. Like, it's more like, how does someone perceive it? How does someone understand it? Heck, can they even use it right? So I think that to me is what what design's supposed to be. Is how well someone can interpret it, but everyone has their own interpretation of how they perceive things. Like, does this look like a duck or does this look like a dog? I don't know. It's just a weird example.
No, I'm
Oh,
kind of with Danielle on that one though, or with her viewpoint. It's like how well you can communicate a message, because everything that you design, you're trying to say something with the elements that you have, and I feel like those elements that you're creating the piece with is kind of like its own language in a sense, because usually that piece has a certain theme and aesthetic behind it, and you're really trying to keep all that in one piece together with cohesive elements, kind of thing. So I agree with like design being able to communicate a message, and then going hand in hand with with what you're saying, Brian, is how well you can use it and how people do interpret it. And then sometimes there's just things like people just want to fuck with you, like they don't want it to be anything. They just want to arouse curious minds, and that could be the point of their design in the end. Doesn't have to be anything. They just want to make you think.
Yeah, everyone needs to use their brains more often.
We only use 2% of our whole brain power.
What if we went to 100?
That is a lie. Love our brain.
I don't know what the
Check
statistic is,
psychology
but
and science.
I don't know what the actual statistic
Science.
is, but isn't it less than like 15% or something?
It was
15.
so the article was
You use your entire brain.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Sounds good. Sounds good.
It was an old article, I want to say, from either like the 70s or 80s that was saying, oh, you only use 10% of your brain, and then it stuck with so many people. And then people, that was quickly dismissed, but it stuck with people that, is so common these days. Even if you ask somebody, it's like, do you use 100% of your brain? They're like, no, man, I only use 10% of it,
It's like one of those fake myth things.
Yes, your brain is very, very active. Like all parts of your brain are constantly used.
Even when you're sleeping.
Or designing.
Yeah.
Case in point.
But
And,
some people definitely are more visual oriented. And some people are more analytical. So, yeah.
They can't understand without any pictures.
Not entirely, but I'm like, for me, I'm definitely way more visual oriented. Like I was talking with someone the other day, and I have awful memory. Like I have very bad short term memory.
I'm
to the
with
point
you.
that someone can be speaking with me, and I forget immediately what they're saying. Like
I'm with you on that.
But then, like, I can recognize faces. I can recognize places. Most of the memories that I think of, and I think this is partly why I'm an artistic person, is that I visualize things. Like, most of my memories are me seeing myself, like, almost like a flashback in that situation.
Like I was here before. I remember this because I know I saw it.
It's weird. I don't know.
So
I think a lot of creative people can relate to that, because I definitely see a lot of things that way too.
Yeah, like if you see something that's like visually pleasing to you, like most likely you are gonna remember it. It just depends what you're looking at, and we're not gonna go into that. Wait, were you trying to say something, Anna? Anna?
Oh no, that was it.
Oh.
I'm just muting. I just mute myself when people are talking, so my
Okay.
breathing
I thought you were
in the background.
I thought you were trying to say something.
Oh no, that's all I had to say.
I see. So, a lot of people do try to see design as like, yeah, it's more of a visual thing. Like, it's what we see and how we perceive it. But let's see how our school perceives our major. So, the weird thing about our school when it comes to design majors, we are all declared as a Bachelor of Science, even though...
So that is true, huh? I've I've never believed that. I never once believed that. Like my mom
This
was telling me, like, yeah, it's really cool. You're getting a bachelor of science for that. And when saying bachelor of science, I'm just like, no, it's not a fucking bachelor of science. People are fucking
is this
crazy.
when
It's
you
like,
were was this when you were applying for our school, Jeremy? And
yes, even still now, I've been thinking it's a BA this entire time.
yeah, so
So it really is a BS. Okay, cool,
yeah, so
good.
this is the one thing I want to discuss with you guys. It's like a lot. There seems to be kind of this debate within our major, like, well, at least for us students. I can't speak for the teachers, but there's this debate going on saying, are we really a bachelor of science or are we more of a bachelor of art? And the reason why we're bachelor of science is because of the web design and the game design, where that involves a lot of programming. So, but us visual designers, some of us take it more, more of the bachelor of arts kind of route. So I'm curious, do you guys think we should stay a bachelor of science, or do you guys think the school should consider us as more of a bachelor of arts?
To be honest, I don't really give a fuck. But I've heard that BS looks better
Great
on.
answer.
Yeah, I've heard BS looks better. Because it's a science, but I'm just getting my degree, man. I wasn't even aware until now, really. So it doesn't make too big of a difference. Because yeah, the only counter-ish argument I could supply is like if our field of study ended in ology, which is the science of or the study of, it could definitely be most considered a science, but we're communication design, not designology. So
I was just
can't really
about
say that.
I was just about to say, let's rename the major Designology. We are designologists now.
But it's weird though, because like in order to kind of come like comprehensive or like know what you're doing, you gotta study communication design. You gotta know what elements are and topography, colors, and tools. Like there's a lot more to color theory than what we really know and use
Hmm,
in the end, kind of stuff. Like I feel like we've only touched the tip of the icebergs on some things. Like we've gone in depth, but until we actually get into the real world and experience some real world things, like everything just kind of hand fed to us in a sense, I guess. I
I
don't
see.
know.
What do you?
Me, I like that it's a bachelor's of science. Like I told you before, it looks good on your resume that you have a bachelor's of science, but computer science does not see it that way, and
Oh
they
my!
question that part of the department questions why we even exist.
I
But
know.
but if you've ever looked at a CS major, actually, what they think is design is we exist for a reason.
Yeah, I remember they showed us a PowerPoint or stuff for like last year. They had the CSs, like all the computer science and the communication design, like give a PowerPoint presentations, and it was
Oh,
easily identifiable, like who the art and like art major or like communication design students were, and then who all the computer science people were,
I
based on
th-
their PowerPoints and how the information was organized and all that stuff.
I think I know
But
Like
which class you're talking about.
like when we were in the huge auditorium or the massive classroom, and every class gave a presentation.
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about. We were just touching bases on this course and the changes that they made to it. But yes, I think it's honestly sad that they don't want to put in the work to make a presentable PowerPoint
Yeah,
for the lead, because everyone at some point with like a kind of like with a desk like job, everybody has to do a presentation at some point. I don't care who you are or what position you have. If you're working in an office, your team is going to have to put together a presentation at one point.
Yep, and you've got to make it look professional, whether
yeah.
you are visual or not.
And that's always one of the biggest things too. Like at the very least, if your presentation looks good, you have some sort of professionalism about you, and they can't mock you for that. It's like we didn't hire him, but he had good presentable skills in his presentation, kind of thing. Like if they were to talk
Exactly.
about it after an interview, kind of shit.
That's why they were trying to work on soft skills. Like, for instance, I think they wanted to make the CS students feel comfortable by having the CD students there because they wanted to teach them soft skills.
I think
Because
the worst possible way in front of a huge crowd.
because I noticed that CD majors have better soft skills, and then CS majors tend to lean on the lone wolf side of things, and that's not good because they also work in teams. So, that's a big problem. And, companies started complaining after a while, and that's why that course became a thing. So I think we were just there to not make the CS students look like they're not capable of basic soft skills for work.
That was kind of cool. You got some inside info knowing some things are like that because I wasn't too aware that the work field or workforce is like that and in that department kind of thing. Because I do like computer science. It's some really cool stuff. But yeah, like if it's not presentable and like boring to look at, it kind of makes it hard to stay interested and wanna learn it. 'Cause, like, yeah,
Absolutely.
that computer science stuff, like it's super crazy and some good stuff to know, no doubt.
Oh yeah, and also and if they made their presentations a lot cleaner, it would demonstrate to like their higher ups that hey, this person knows what they're doing and they know what they're talking about. Where it doesn't even look like they're reading off of the presentation.
It really helps the phrase "fake it till you make it."
Pretty much. Yeah, actually, going off on the presentation thing, I remember, I think it was last year. Yeah, like the CS and the CD students were all mixed together in that giant classroom, and I remember this one group of CD students. They got together for a presentation. I think they were talking about accessibility in gaming, which honestly was like a really good topic for them to do. And I remember like a week after the presentations, especially after that group went, my teacher says like she brings up their PowerPoint and she said, "Guys, this is actually the best presentation I've ever seen, both visually and the way how they acted." I'm like, "Yo." I texted them too. It's like, "Yo, your presentation, it's the star of the show." And they're like, "No way." Yeah, but I do agree. It's like Bachelor of Science. It is, it's more looked up upon by like a lot of jobs and careers. But I will say for our major, it's a little bit confusing for a lot of people. One time I went to the career center to talk about to show someone my portfolio and get started on like finding an internship over the summer. And I told them, "Oh, I'm studying communication design." And she said, "Okay, make sure you say that in your resume. Say you're studying communication design, Bachelor of Arts." I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 no. It's actually Bachelor of Science." And they're like, "Okay, Bachelor of Science." I'm like, "Bro, even the career people don't even know we're Bachelor of Science."
Wow, that's really disappointing.
Same thing with my internship, too. Like, I'm in an internship right now. And when I did an interview with, my supervisor, she was looking over my portfolio, and on my portfolio, I have a resume up there. And, it did say communication design was Bachelor of Science. And she had to ask me, it was like, "What's communication design Bachelor of Science?" And like, I just straight up said, "Oh, it's just basically graphic design. Don't worry about it." And she's like, "Oh, okay." So that's how I became a graphic designer on my team. But yeah, it's like, it's kind of weird. Like, yes, Bachelor of Science is more looked up upon, but for a lot of people, it's confusing to them. So I have no idea how to fix that.
I don't think we could really fix it in any way because also like it doesn't help that we have multiple industry terms for us because we're not just graphic designers. It's like this umbrella,
Yeah.
because a lot of people think of graphic designers as these people who create logos. Absolutely not. those are logo designers, and not all of us are great at that. We have our own like fields, and then in the government, do you want to know what the title for a graphic designer is in the government?
I'm curious. What
Lay
is
it
it?
on us. Lay it on us.
So we're known as visual information specialists. We're not even called graphic designers. We're visual information specialists.
I am very curious how you know this, Danielle.
Well, I've been applying to those jobs. That's okay.
Damn, trying to work for the government?
And dude, good benefits, man. Good benefits. I get medical and retirement pay, and it's one of those things where the job market for government workers is a lot steadier, no matter what is going on economically.
Tell us all their secrets. I'm kidding, FBI agent tuning in. I'm kidding.
Yeah, government jobs are definitely more secure. My mom has a government job, and like she gets pretty good benefits.
Alright, so that's kind of our take on, how the school sees us as us designers. And, even earlier too, we discussed how our teachers sees us as designers. We'll probably say that for another episode. But the last thing I wanted to talk about, so of course, with every career, every major, there's always like huge challenges for us, huge obstacles. And of course, one of the obstacles for us is kind of like, a creative block. So how do you guys usually get around that when you have like this creative block ahead of you?
See, my whole life is just a creative block in general. Because like I try to draw a lot, and I just don't. Like I really try to be an artsy person and create art. It just doesn't happen because I just get too busy with other things, and sometimes I just really don't have the motivation to sit down a lot and just draw something really to begin with. And sometimes that's what makes me question this decision even being in this major. But I know it's not all about drawing. But art block, I just work on through the assignment and keep laying stuff out. If there's something new that I think of, I just get the elements for it or the pieces I need for it and just slap it on my fucking board and just kind of go crazy and start moving things around until something finally looks good in my eyes. And yeah, just trying to incorporate little things here and here and create multiple versions with a whole bunch of little tweaks to each little thing, just create something until you find something.
Can you say the same thing for like when you're working on a motorbike? It's like, does this work? Okay.
It sort of, working on a dirt bike is more troubleshooting if there's something gone wrong. In my eyes, a machine or a motor is kind of science and mathematical. Everything is precise and every piece has a function to do. And if something goes wrong, you just kind of have to follow the path of where you think that piece would be of what went wrong based on how the bike exploded on something. Like there's not too much that can go wrong. It's either your transmission or top end, but yeah.
Looks like Anna got disconnected. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Hopefully she can get back in. But while we wait for Anna to come back in, there she is.
She's back.
You all good, Anna? Hello? I think she's having
Oh no.
I think she's having a technical issue, guys.
Uh-oh, begin with.
While we wait for Anna to get her issue fixed, Danielle, like, how do you usually get over like a creative block or an art block when working?
Oh, hey, sorry.
Oh, there you are, Anna.
Sorry, I totally forgot. My headset has where I can mute myself.
Oh, I see.
I forgot I didn't turn it back on.
Okay, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So how I get through a creative block, I try to find something else to do, because if I keep working on it, I'm just going to become stressed out. And then sometimes looking at other art will inspire me. I know that I'll watch like a lot of animated stuff if I'm in a block because it gives me inspiration and it makes me feel good about the direction that I'm going in, or at least maybe going in a different direction, or maybe seeing something that I didn't see before. But it's for me, I can't push through it. It's just one of those things where I have to do something else and I got to step away, even if it's for a day or two. I just have to be like, you know what, I got to put it down.
Yeah, I think. Oh, go ahead. I think the biggest thing for art block, one of the biggest ways to get around it, kind of like Danielle said, just go out and do something new. Because I've kind of experienced that, but I've noticed like I kind of have an idea when I have an idea coming to me on a current piece of work just when I'm doing something else, and sometimes all it is just looking at it from a different perspective, because it's really hard to break a perspective that you're seeing everything right now as it is, and sometimes just being able to flip it in some way, form or another can help as well. Perspective can really play in art block, I feel like.
What are some of the animations you like watch to get a little bit of inspiration, Danielle?
It could be anything from some kind of weird stuff that I found on YouTube years ago to even just popular animations that you may find on like Hulu or Netflix, and different genres too, because it's good to explore different genres just because they'll have different visual styles, when you get more action horror, the characters become like harder and sharper, whereas if you get something more like wholesome in content, they become kind of like these squishy babies that are cute to look at.
We call those
I like
cinnamon
that.
rolls. We call them
I
cinnamon
support
rolls.
squishy babies.
Yeah, because you're like how cute with your little rounded edges and squishy bodies.
Okay.
But I think it's just keep it, just change it up. Check things out, explore. There's a lot to see.
Change it up. Okay, and how do you usually deal with an art block or creative block?
That's a good question because I don't think I've actually found like a solution, to be honest. I think sometimes I just have to tell myself that it's okay for me to not always do really good work. I think I have to. It's okay to do some crappy things here and there. Just get them out of the way, and then I'll get to some other good stuff.
So
It's not being as hard on myself and just trying to work through it, and I guess just like anyone else, looking to different places and just trying something new to get through it. Trying something doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be good. It just means that I'm trying something new, and then something else comes.
I see. So you're more like you just gotta keep pushing through. It doesn't matter how good or bad it looks out in the end.
A little bit. I try to make it look nice, but sometimes I gotta be kind to myself.
You gotta give.
I don't do perfect, like exceptional work. Sometimes you have a few bad ones here.
Hate me for saying this too, but sometimes I think it really helps if you're stuck and you can't think of something to do. Go back to the basics. Look up some of the very first things you learn and some of the first techniques and see if you're using anything, and see if it looks good on any things you're using right now if you're not using them.
I know.
I've been in a couple situations where going back to the basics has helped immensely, and just kind of getting a fresh perspective and trying something new.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've done that before for various projects. For me, getting over like a creative block or art block, first things first, I just jam out to music. Music, when I'm like creating stuff, it gets me in the mood, it gets me in the jam. So like when I'm vibing with my music and I'm working on like a creative piece, I'm like, I just feel the music flow, man. And I pretty much listen to like, well, I everyone in the server knows I'm the biggest like K-pop here, so there's that. But also I will listen to like, some EDM, some rock music, or even some lo-fi music to be honest. Just again, like I guess just depends on the mood, I would say.
I think everybody listens to the lo-fi music.
They all tune into the stream at the same time. Yeah, and then also too, like sometimes I even go to my friends for like inspiration. Like I don't know, it's just like whenever I hang out with my friends and like something specific happens, it clicks in my head. Like say like I'm working on a project for like a magazine or something, and I'm like, shoot, how do I lay this out? And next thing you know, I go to like say like my roommates, for example, we do something. I don't know, for some reason, an idea just clicks on me. I'm like, oh, now I know how to do. Even yeah, too. Like when you want to take a risk in your design, at first you're like a little bit like scared about doing it, but then in the end, for other people, it actually looks really good. I remember one time, Danielle and Jeremy, I think were there for that, but I did a grid design in one of the assignments we did, and our teacher pointed at mine, and she said, "Who did this?" And I raised my hand, and she shook my hand, saying, "Good job on this grid design." I'm like, "Huh? What? I actually did good."
That's because it's like one of the foundations of design, and for somebody to actually apply it, it's just like the rule of thirds. When they see it, they're just like, somebody actually used it.
I swear, every time someone says rule of thirds, I swear people are gonna have a boner. Especially big designers.
Dude, I was literally just about to say, like, when you use a grid or anything, it gives people eye boners.
Another lesson of today's show, just learn how to take a risk.
Risk it all.
Risk it all.
I can attest to that.
Risk it for the biscuit.
Hell yeah. That's what's up. So
I think the great thing about finding inspiration is that it can honestly come from anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. I highly agree with you, Anna. Like I was saying before, if you're stuck on something, and you just go do something like what Danielle was saying, something new can just pop up to you in the moment when you're doing that thing, not even relating to it. It's just sometimes hard to remember it or just write it down in the moment because you're going to forget it later.
So, to wrap things up a little bit, what are some other annoying things us designers have to go through in our everyday lives?
Ooh. I'll tell you firsthand from experience.
Can you make it
experience.
Bigger?
I for the most part have had different bosses, and I will tell you, non-designers don't know anything about design, but they'll try to tell you that they're the authority on design.
Oh,
it doesn't matter how many times you say, in my professional opinion, I don't think we should do this. They're like, no, we're going with this. There were a lot of design choices that as I got older, I started becoming obstinate and saying absolutely no. I actually have a design shirt that I got at Adobe Max that just says nope. And then it lists all the things that I will not do, it was really funny. I know that one of our professors...
I know what shirt you're talking about.
Because one of our professors has it too.
That's great.
But it's my favorite shirt, and I think every designer relates to it because it lists all the things, because a lot of non-designers are very nitpicky, and they don't always know how to convey their vision properly, and that's what we're there for. But then also, they don't want to use our skills or any advice from us, even though that we're the specialist in that field.
I totally agree with you, Danielle. We just for my current job right now, we just got done doing a sign for a barber shop, and yeah, our dude designed it, but the clients are like, oh wait, can you do this or can you do that? And there's one thing they wanted for their guns, and they wanted silver accents on it, and all of us were just like, yo, look, that silver's not gonna work, bro. You're just not gonna see it. Like, what are you doing? Like, and they're just like, no, we want the silver. It'll look good. We know it will. We're just like, no, we won't. Just stay with the black, please. Trust us. And they're just like, all right, fine. And yeah, and it's really interesting to have other clients come in and like kind of do a design and what they want and all that. And then you're just like, really? You want this and that with it? And then I'm fortunate, my boss is a sucker for centered text.
Oh god!
So like, I haven't been able to do too much sign design yet, but on some of the stuff I have, I do a couple options. Like I always do a center design, and then I always do like a justified left and a justified right. Like, hey boss, like here's your center design, but here's just some other options to consider too. And every single time, it's always centered. My heart, my soul.
Where's our teacher? She's gonna have that man's ass for that.
In actuality though, like you can't fight it, bro. It's what he wants. It's what the client wants. If they want center text, you gotta have center text for them, bro. Even if it doesn't look good.
My job on campus, my supervisor wanted everything centered, and I was like, no, you shall not have this. I started telling him, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. If you're gonna if you want to do centered text for your graphics, you do the graphics, and I'll stick to the other graphics. And that's what happened in some cases.
Did you actually like snap at us like, man, you do your own thing?
Yes, I started. Well, I got tired of it because it was like I'm putting my foot down. I'm letting you know from a standpoint, because I started getting to a point where it was like, so I would tell him, I'd be like, so you're basically telling me that my professors are wrong and that they're not the professionals that they say they are. And you're right, the person that has a degree in a totally different non-creative field, you're correct. You know,
talk it to them.
Yeah, you gotta put your foot down at some point, and you know, because some people are really like obstinate about it. You know, they're like, "Oh, my way is right. I know what I'm doing." You know, I've been in the industry, and it's like, yes, but you hired me for a reason, so. You know, like
you get what you
pesky computer science people, guys. No, I'm totally kidding. No hate towards the CS major at all. None at all.
We need them, and they need us.
Highly agree with that.
The person asked you to use Comic Sans.
Oh no! I cry at bad fonts.
All right, now I'm designing the template for this episode to be in Comic Sans. No, I'm kidding.
You should have the title card should be "Graphic Design is my passion."
Yeah, I will. One annoying thing that I've been through is that sometimes people won't give you the right assets.
Yes.
And sometimes the assets you're given, you question like, bro, what? So I'm given this template, right? And they said, oh, there's a black square where you clearly paste the picture on this. Can you do that? I'm like, yeah, sure, it's simple. I'm given the template, and I'm like, I load it up to Photoshop. I'm like, wait, do they actually want me to hard crop this photo into this? And then I'm like, bruh, there's a thing called the frame tool that you could just easily use. So for every assignment I get with the templates, I'm like, I use the frame tool all the time. I'm like, bro, that shit's so easy. How did the previous designer not know this? And also to like that one class with the poster design contest, when the client and our professor kept butting heads about our designs, and everyone's just like, can you guys not? You guys know.
Is that the one teacher? The one teacher a lot of people have issues with the
Yeah,
most?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Danielle and Jeremy knows which assignment I'm
Okay.
talking about. The New Year's Eve
No,
poster.
I did that assignment.
Oh.
Well, I did a similar assignment.
Oh, you did something similar?
Yeah, I did
Well-
something similar in my typography class.
Well,
Yeah, I thought it was weird we had to hard crop something. We could just use the frame.
Oh yeah.
Well, with that project in particular, they believed that they were the authority on it because one, they had been doing it for so long, and two, that they had degrees in art. But it's like, just because you have a degree in art doesn't make you, like the authority on it. That'd be like me
Yeah.
telling my friend who she's good at painting, but I am not. I'm more of a sculpture person. That'd be me telling her that, no, you're doing this wrong. It's still art, but it's like, it's not the same. It's all different. And I think you can't be a jack of all trades when it comes to art, because no matter how good you are at one thing, there's somebody else that's better in another area than you are. You could have a basic understanding, but you can't say you're an authority because you have a degree in art that's like 40 years old.
It's also
Well
a generation. Oh, sorry. What were you saying, Jeremy?
I was just saying, well put.
Yeah, another thing I was gonna add is like it's another thing too. It's like different generations of designers, because the clients we were dealing with, they were like, they were way older than us. They're from a different generation, so their take on design is very, very different from like present day designs. Like if you see an old design from back then versus a new design now, you can clearly see the difference. But some of us had to go back to like that really, really old style of design. And I know how much, some of us here kind of hated doing that. But yeah, I mean, you just gotta do what you just gotta do. Just suck up to your boss. Be like, hey, boss, I got you what you asked for.
Looking back on old designs isn't, it's good to look back on like what worked then. But it can get to a point where like that doesn't. You should only stick to that.
Looks like we're running out of time for this session. Before we end today's show, is there anything you guys want to plug real quick? Any, something you guys want to promote?
Yeah, let me promote my art Instagram, my Snapchat, my Twitter, my LinkedIn, my Squarespace.
Do you actually
I don't
have
any
all
of those. I don't have any of that.
Don't you
Not
want to
even
shout?
Instagram.
Don't you want to shout out like the what was it, the motor shop you're working at or something?
No, it's okay. He won't hear this. I mean, if he does, shout out Car Protection Pros. Thank you for the job. But
I mean, you can always share it, and people will find out.
No, it's okay. I don't think anyone here wants their car wrapped in vinyl or film.
Oh, I see. Well, I guess that's gonna wrap up for today's episode of Let's Hang Out. Thank you, and Danielle and Jeremy for joining on today's show.
Thank you for having us.
I enjoyed it.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, for sure. So, make sure you guys subscribe to Apartment 308, like the video, comment, share it with all your friends. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. This is the part where you guys say bye too.
Later.
Bye. I was like, you didn't even cue us up for the end. You're just like,
It's too late.
You
The
don't
only
do
thing
the
I'm
ending,
washing my
Brian.
hands.